Leadership, can you fake it until you make it? That came up this weekend, that whole topic about can we just fake things until we can make it? If you can hear my voice, you can probably tell that I'm a little under the weather and I'm trying something new with our live events. And I want to see if I can re-record and then be able to share it with you guys. This weekend, we've been trying to wrap up a pretty large project that we've been working on for the past couple of years. And with that project, this shows up. And someone looked at me and they said, "You look like you're feeling better, but are you just faking it until you make it, or do you actually feel better?" And I just said, "No, I feel pretty bad, and I'm just going to keep plowing through this. And at the end of it, I'll crash and burn and figure out what to do next." So, a lot of you can probably relate. And if you don't know me, I'm Catherine Cantey. I'm an executive coach. I'm a podcast host of Business Vitality, where we share leadership best practices from executives who have been there and have done that. And they're just highlighting best practices going forward and allowing us to learn. I really appreciate them coming on. If you want to check us out, we are at any major platform where you can find your podcast, whether it's Apple, Amazon, Spotify, wherever it may be. Hopefully, you can find it. It's under Business Vitality. And today we're talking about leadership. Can you fake it until you make it? And I have to tell you, I think you can. When I work with some of my corporate clients that I've been serving, it's either one of two areas. I've got a couple of women who are in construction, and it's a little tricky for them to be able to come onto a job site a little less senior than others and maybe don't have that, masonry background that maybe some of the other guys do that are on the job sites. Same thing for some of the younger guys that are out there on construction sites. They may not know which end of the hammer to hold, but they know how to lead people. And what we're finding out is no matter which end of the spectrum you're at, if you're new to leading teams that have more experience than you with a particular project, and this particular example was in construction, if you are having to lead those around you that may have more experience and may know the details more than you, can you fake it until you can make it? And I'm here to say that you can. I've had personal experiences where I've had to fake it before I could make it. And I'm working with clients today, and that's what we're doing is we are helping them figure out which leadership traits they need to work on going forward, what kind of questions they need to lead with in the organization in order to keep leading the group and leading the business. And there's a lot of talented CEOs and HR professionals that are hiring executive coaches to be able to accelerate this growth within an organization. And so, working with these talented leaders, I'm here to say that, yeah, you can fake it till you make it. You don't need to know the details of the business. You do need to know a few other things that allow you to lead with the others in the organization. So, you know, sometimes we sit down during a coaching session and the leader is asking, I don't know the details. Like, I don't know what it is that they should be doing, but I do know, like in my core, I know that this should be further along, or this should not be taking this long, or this should not be running to that price point. And so, what we're doing is working with a lot of these leaders to be able to build that confidence and that consistency and that momentum that allows them to get comfortable with beginning to bridge these conversations and to begin to bring these topics up and to be able to say, okay, we have 2 weeks left on this project. It's in the crunch. And we all know if you've ever been in construction, built anything, it's those last 2 weeks that just get hairy as anything, and it can totally take a left turn, and we never know where it's going to land. So, being in the middle of it and working with the client in the middle of that grind at the very end allows us to really have real life experience to get them through it, to build the positive momentum that's going to get them to the other side. And so I convinced them, and I firmly believe this, you do not need to know which end of the hammer to use. You need to know who on your team knows which end of the hammer to use, and they need to be able to go in there and execute. And you need to be able to go in there and say, wait a minute, guys, I don't think working in this room is where our best use of time is. We need to be able to, strategically look at this. And that's what you're paying your key leaders to do is to go in there and look at stuff from a strategic, from a visionary standpoint and be able to lead the team. We don't need them to run the drills. We don't need them to run the hammers and carry the 2x4s. We need them in there leading the organization and getting out of the details. A lot of times, what got us here will not get us there. And that's a book that a good friend of mine, Marshall Goldsmith, has written. And you can read it. It is a fantastic book. But like what really got us in these leadership positions, like what we had to get there, we're going to have to let go of a lot of that stuff. And so knowing that we need to let go of this and maybe just stretch ourselves a little bit and just let it go a little bit is what we need to do. I can't tell you how many times we've been out on jobs and it's these other folks that have been there for 20, 30, 40 years on these particular, jobs and consulting, practices that we've been out to see. And, they know the detail. They know where the bodies are buried. They know everything that's out there. And we've got to work with what we've got. And so much of leadership today is knowing that we have everything that we have to make a decision, and we're going to make the best decision that we can. And a lot of times when I'm working with organizations, the CEO, the HR professional, the leader that's hiring me to work with their teams and their leaders is, I can't quite put my finger on it, but they just need to grow just a little bit more. They need to take that 1% or even that 2% further. And, to be able to stretch these people, they're going to have to fake it just a little bit to get out of their comfort zone, to really stretch with what they're doing. And to be able to do that, it's going to allow the organization to grow. It's going to allow you, as the CEO or the HR professional, it's going to allow that company to grow even further because you have allowed that individual to grow. And we're only as good as our weakest link. And if we can keep growing the people on our team and growing these folks that are leading these organizations, we're going to continue to do amazing things year after year and decade after decade. But we have to stretch these folks just a little bit further just to be able to do that 1% and 2% more. And to do that, we've got to give them that confidence. And that's where I believe that executive coaching, excuse me, and working with these individuals one on one over a time span of 6 to 12 months is really where you're going to get the cadence and be able to get the benefit of this. And we're not sending them in blind. We're not sending them in blind to fake it until you make it, but we're going to be there with them. And that's what I'm doing with my clients. They are able to set goals and be able to create measurable change within a very short period of time. I'm extremely proud of the work that they're doing, the humility, the courage, and the discipline that they show when they show up. They've got the courage to be able to receive this feedback, the discipline to show up and continue to have these conversations, and the humility to realize, even though I'm really good at what I'm doing, like I can get a little bit better. I can take some feedback from those around me. And that's part of giving them that courage of being able to fight through the fake it until you make it. And the leaders that I'm working with, I asked one of the sponsors, the gentleman that hired me, with your leaders, what's success look like? What does success look like for you if these people get better? How long do you think it would take? And he told me 24 months. And I said, okay, I feel like we can do this. And within 90 days, these leaders are recognized by their peers, by their manager, by their stakeholders that they improved with their leadership skills. So they had to get a little uncomfortable before they could get comfortable. But I tell you what, when we start measuring this and they begin to see what the success is like coming from others and the positive momentum that's building, it just continues to multiply and it's compounding. And we're very familiar with the compounding of impact. And that's what they're doing. They're creating this impactful, compact, um, compounding result of being able to show courage and humility and discipline through the process of sometimes just having to fake it until they make it. So it's a privilege to be able to work with these leaders, and I'm always looking to expand the conversations. If you or someone who's out there that they're doing a fantastic job, and we just need to stretch them just maybe 1 or 2%, a little bit more. I would love to be able to have that conversation. And if you send me a message, I love to continue to have that dialogue. All right. Excuse me while I have a sip. So, for those of you who are joining us this weekend, I worked on a project that has been going on for a couple of years, and I showed up and I feel like this. And I just thought, as we're working on this project, somebody looked at me and they said, "You look like you're feeling better. Do you feel better, or are you just faking it until you make it?" And it was the second. So I've been faking it until I make it, and I'm not sure how long my voice is going to make it today, but I wanted to jump out here and just record this and be able to post it for our live events. And wanted to just be able to share with you leadership is much like faking it until you can make it. And sometimes we just have to go through the motions, and sometimes we just have to show up, make the best decisions that we can. I shared with you just a short example of some women that I work with that are in construction that are having to go into positions and manage jobs with 30 and 40-year veterans on the job site. Also, working with some gentlemen in construction. They are not exactly senior leaders, and they're fantastic leaders. They may not know which end of the hammer to hold, but they're leaders and they're showing up in the organization, and they have the courage to keep leading. So, we've got folks that need to just be able to build up their confidence and build up the momentum that they're providing on the job site. And so those are just two quick examples of folks that I've been working with that are faking it until they make it. The results are phenomenal. They are able to actually, some of these clients are getting results within 90 days as measured and seen by others around them. And then they receive more confirmation at the 6 month mark and then beyond. The folks that are really doing substantial change are actually doing this for 12 and 18 months of this work, because we all know that a one and done leadership class doesn't usually deliver results. And what does deliver results are small bits of change implemented over time. And so that's what we're talking about. You can fake it till you make it with leadership if you know what you're doing. And if you want to accelerate it, if you want to move much faster than you ever have before, reach out to me, because I have a process, a 4-decade proven process that will help you grow your leaders within your organization. What I'm able to do is blend that 40 years of executive coaching framework with my own corporate experience. And I just want to be able to relate to you guys that I've been there with you. I still am here with you. I have was named one of the youngest, or was named the youngest vice president of the bank that I worked at when I was in my mid 20s. I didn't even realize it until the other guys pointed it out. You just don't know what you're doing, but you show up and you work hard and you serve other people first. And when you do that, you begin to get recognized, but you got to begin to have intentional conversations with the leaders, the sponsors, and the mentors around you. And so that's some of the stuff that I'm teaching my clients to help accelerate the growth and accelerate their leadership within an organization, to be able to reduce the time of faking it until they make it. Um, Within that organization, I didn't realize that I was the youngest VP. I was definitely the youngest female VP. From there, probably a few years later, I went into another organization as the second woman in 100 years to be named in a customer facing role. Again, I guess that's part of my faults. I just show up and I try to work hard and take care of the customer, serving the customer first. And being able to do that, sometimes you do have to fake it. Sometimes you don't have all the answers. And sometimes you just have to show up and do the best that you can. And yeah, sometimes that is faking it until you make it. But you know what? We all get through it and we learn things from it. And we can turn what may feel like a failure at times into success. And, I remember sitting at that table with just men around me in this organization. And I was told by my team members that if there were certain accounts that were offered to me, that I needed to decline them, because those were their accounts and that I didn't need to be having those accounts. I wasn't allowed to manage those accounts. And that's just some of the conversations that were happening around the table. And this wasn't happening like 20 or 30 years ago. This was pretty recent that this stuff was happening. And, you just learn to embrace it and you learn to figure out how to get through it. And sometimes you just fake it. You're like, okay, well, I hear you. And I just, if you've worked with me before, there's an ask, listen, thank process that I use. And I tend to say thank you. And I come back and I think about what it was that was just said to me, in what tone and how it was delivered. And I begin to figure out, what do I want to do going forward? What I have figured out is those same skills of me being in corporate, being named the youngest VP, being the second woman in 100 years to take on a customer facing role in a $300 billion system, and receiving information like, you can't have my accounts, in a tone that was quite firm but had a bit of a joke to it, but I read between the lines and I could get it. He definitely didn't want me to take his accounts if they were reassigned to me. So, you just figure out how to map through this. And sometimes you fake these skills, you fake this negotiation until you can figure out how you want to spin it to work to your advantage. And it's just part of life. It's part of the skill set that I'm able to bring with my clients. I've got 20 plus years in corporate and banking and traveling around the country serving other people first, and then blending it with 4 decades of leadership coaching, which is pretty cool to be able to see the best practices highlight from these leaders and be able to mesh this stuff together to really accelerate growth within an organization. One thing stays constant throughout all of this, and that is, we do not have all the answers at all the times. And much like with many leaders that I've worked with, many CEOs that I've worked with, boardrooms, etc., what I have found out is we make the best decisions that we can with the information that we have, given everything we have going on. And whether that is, you're new to a position and you feel like you have to fake it a little bit in order to make it, you may not know exactly all the details of every position of everybody on your team. You may be walking into something that's, brand new and uncharted. There's a little bit of this learning curve that happens. And when we find this, we got to make the best decision that we can. And I truly believe that with leadership, you can fake it until you can make it. And I want to let you know, you got to have a game plan. You got to know how you're going to navigate this. And as an executive coach, I want to be able to be able to support those that are willing to take the chances, that are willing to put themselves out there to continue to grow. Um, it's been an amazing opportunity to serve my clients and to be able to help them and to be able to brainstorm together on how are we going to work through these different scenarios. I know it is a huge relief off of the CEOs and the HR professionals that hire me, because they have so many other fires that are happening that they can teach their team members certain things, but sometimes we just need an outside voice to be able to brainstorm with them and to allow them to build up that confidence. There's only so many hours in the day. If you're a CEO, you're an HR professional, you have so many different things coming at you all day long. That is the reason these talented people are hiring me to come in and work with their high potential leaders, is because we need to give them some focused attention to create the momentum to grow them in an accelerated way within the organization. So, my name is Catherine Cantey. I'm an executive coach and a podcast host. I've spent 60% of my corporate time on the road, traveling around the country, helping other customers and helping other clients be able to grow their business. I see the importance of being able to bridge operations and sales and the strategic boardroom together. I saw it firsthand and how that benefits the company, benefits the customer, benefits the team member. It is a triple win when we can get all these conversations together. And I love being able to blend my corporate experience, my failures and successes, with a proven framework, 40 years proven framework with Marshall Goldsmith, called Stakeholder Centered Coaching. I'm one of 12 executive coaches here in the US. And I love the work that we're doing. I love being able to blend it together. And I'm here to let you know that with leadership, you don't have to fake it until you make it. I think you can get through it, and you can get the results that you want in an accelerated manner. If you're interested and want to learn more, send me a message. My website also is catherinecantey.com, CatherineCantey. I really appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for helping me fight through this, whatever this is, because as we all know, sometimes we just gotta fake it until we make it, and that's what I'm doing today. Is I'm just gonna fight through whatever this voice thing is, and be able to share with you that what happens in life happens in leadership. And I just want to continue to pay it forward and help others. So if this hits home with you, please send me a message. I love hearing from other folks. I love being able to work with folks that have high potential teams. I'm working with teams and leaders. We are using practical applications in order to deliver measurable leadership change. And we are accelerating the results for our clients. So, a lot of fun. And I really appreciate you being here. Again, this is Catherine Cantey. I'm an executive coach and a podcast host of Business Vitality. I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.